moment of silence for the latest mass grave that was discovered in Saskatchewan. Thank you, Council, for that. So we are meeting this evening for one item, and the motion that I'm hoping Council will consider tonight is to plan and implement a day of reflection, learning, and support of Unama'ki and Mi'kma'ki communities in light of the mass graves located at the sites of residential schools in both British Columbia and Saskatchewan for July 1st. I would also like Council to consider with this motion that we will continue to work with and support Unama'ki and Mi'kma'ki communities in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, both on July 1st and into the future. So if Council is willing to make that motion, we can have some discussion once it's on the floor.
Motion moved.
Thank you, Councillor Coyne.
I'll second the motion, Your Worship, but I have some concerns I would like to express, especially with the motion itself. I mean, I'm reading the letters. Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, now that motion is on the floor, we can have some discussion. Did you want me to give, I guess, some of the feedback that I've received from some various community leaders from the First Nation communities around the island, Huey, just so you can kind of get a bit of an idea of what it is that the potential plan can be, and then I can hand the floor over to you for comment. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't think we have to go into reading all the emails.
Not a lot. No.
I've got the emails here, and I read them. But my question is, according to Chief Ann, is that her name, Brenda? Chief Ann? I don't know her last name.
So anyway, that was just some advice, some feedback that I got from Chief Annie, but I'm going to give a little bit of the feedback for Council consideration of what the plan for July 1st can be. And then if you wish, we can have some discussion on that if Council is in agreement, or if Council has some feedback for maybe some things we can do differently. Anyway, so I had the opportunity to have several discussions with some First Nation First Voice in the form of feedback with regard to how the town of Port Hawkesbury would go about for a plan for July 1st. So various reconciliation feedback that I received was to consider hosting a ceremony to honor and support First Nation communities and to honor the memories of the residential school victims, mostly children, and the residential school survivors and their families. The ceremony's aim is simply to listen, learn, and reflect. We'd invite neighboring First Nation community members to join our community here in Port Hawkesbury to share together in drumming and singing of the honor song, smudging, and most importantly, providing an opportunity to listen to First Nation speakers who can share their stories and prayers. We can raise the Mi'kmaq flag first thing Monday morning and put all flags to half-mast for the entire month of July. Other suggestions for future consideration, not for this evening, but for future consideration for some of the feedback I received, was for us to potentially arrange as a council and also for interested community members to partake in a blanket exercise that can be organized perhaps later in the summer and the fall. Also for us to work on a joint memorandum of understanding with our island's 5 First Nation communities and 5 municipalities to work on how plan for how we can better work together and support each other more. So tonight I'd ask for Council's endorsement for those suggestions that came forward for the July 1st around the learning, reflection, and support for Unama'ki and Mi'kma'ki communities, as outlined by these First Voice suggestions. And anyway, so the information I shared, Huey, with regard to feedback I received from Annie, that was I asked for that to be a confidential share because it was a private message from her, but I just wanted to illustrate that, that for us to be sensitive to what has occurred over the last couple of weeks with the discovery of the mass graves, and how going forward what we would like to do on July 1st in order to support communities. So I know that lots of municipalities and communities across the province of Nova Scotia are considering what would be the best action to take for July 1st. And anyway, so that's the reason for us meeting today, is to determine what we would like to do on July 1st.
Yeah, Your Worship. Is it okay to talk now, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. No, it's horrific what happened, and everybody knows it's horrific. And I think the whole country is grieving. I've been watching TV all day, both news, CBC and CTV, and it's all over, obviously, everywhere, and it's horrific. And a lot of the what I've been reading is a lot of the and like you say, if that's a confidential letter from Chief Ann, well, that's fine. But the gist that I get, that they're happy, that she would be happy, and some of the other emails that followed the trade there of the emails, if we canceled our Canada Day celebrations and we had a day of reflection for the citizens of Port Hawkesbury, and that would be suffice for now. I agree with what you're saying. At a future date, we can have some well organized reflections and celebrations at a later date when we're more organized. But for now, I would support canceling all our Canada Day celebrations and telling the citizens of Hawkesbury it's a day of reflection, and we don't have to do any hoopla until we get all our ducks in a row at a later date. I agree with that 100%. Thank
you. Hey, Councillor Coyne.
I definitely agree that the celebrations that were planned for July 1st should not continue this year. We should suspend it for a year. I think if we can, what I'm seeing everywhere as well is that people are doing just that. They're canceling July 1st celebrations and having a day of remembering. Or I haven't heard of many or any places having a ceremony. I'm not against it if we could do it right. I don't want to rush it and not do it properly. If we feel that we can get it done properly for July 1st, I'd be okay with that. But getting to Councillor McDougall's point, I don't want to do it unless it's done right. And I think if we have the right people in place that feel that they can pull this off, I would support it. I personally can't be there. I'm spreading the ashes of a family member on that day. But like I said, if it could be done properly, I would be okay with it. But I do understand where Councillor McDougall is coming as well, that 3 days might not be enough time to pull this together.
you. And Your Worship, could I just echo Councillor Coyne's? I can't make it there either, and I would love to be there, but I can't make it on that day either. So yeah. I think, in my opinion, if we do what the way I understand from the emails that I've been reading, if we cancel our celebrations and have a day of reflection for the citizens of Port Hawkesbury, that I think that would be welcomed by a lot of communities, and to organize, like you suggested, to organize ceremonial event at a later date.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. So I guess just to follow up with both of those comments, and I certainly appreciate your feedback as well. Would it make sense to kind of gauge what we could do within a 3-day period? You know, maybe it's not going to be a big ceremony. Maybe it's just a small opportunity to do a reflection, but perhaps there are some things that we can do to show support to Unama'ki and Mi'kma'ki communities, and to show support throughout maybe the summer when we have the time to properly plan and implement. We can see perhaps and keep council plugged in with perhaps some things that we can plan properly between now and July 1st. And perhaps like if there are more substantial plans that need to be implemented, we can certainly do it at a later date when we're able to have all of council present, and when we can have lots of time to plan it in a meaningful way with lots of engagement with our First Nation communities and First Nation leaders. That point well taken. I appreciate it. So it may be just there may not be a lot of opportunity to plan something substantial for July 1st, but there could perhaps be some small things that we can put in place to enable our community and our community members to have an opportunity to reflect, to learn, and to support First Nation communities here in Unama'ki and across Mi'kma'ki.
No, Your Worship, I was talking to another councillor, Councillor McIver, and he said he was talking to Terry. He had called Terry, and he said that he was supportive. He told me he couldn't make the meeting. He was supportive also of canceling Canada Day celebrations and having the day of reflection. Now, I support that also, and having the day of reflection is just, in my opinion, exactly what it is, a day of reflection where everybody can just have the day to themselves and reflect. If we're going to put on any type of celebration, I think we're taking away from the day of reflection. So I just think that we should just hold off everything, cancel Canada Day celebrations, and I think that would be suffice for now.
I know Councillors McIver and McCrory can't be here this evening, but they've both expressed their support, and I'd like to thank both council members for providing that feedback prior to us meeting. And I guess I don't want to diminish the feedback that we have received from First Nation communities, from our neighbors. And again, yes, 3 days isn't enough, but I do think that if there are maybe some small shows of support that we can manage to mobilize, I would encourage council to support that. We can pull a ceremony together, but perhaps there are other smaller things that we can do. And as we come up with some plans and maybe a timetable throughout the summer where we can implement a ceremony, then we can keep council apprised of those plans and have some feedback opportunities for council as well, if that sounds reasonable. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry, you have your mic on.
Oh, sorry, it was just on.
Again, I'm going to emphasize my view on this. It's tragic, and I think we should have a celebration at a later date. But I think it would be suffice right now to cancel Canada Day celebrations in the town of Port Hawkesbury and have the citizens of Port Hawkesbury a day of reflection on what happened. No hoopla, no celebration, nothing until we all. I feel terrible about this myself, and I would like to have that day of reflection myself, and just to sit with my family and not have to worry about having to go to someplace for a celebration or a commemorative for now, I think what we should do is just cancel Canada Day celebrations and have a day of reflection for the citizens of Port Hawkesbury.
Okay, so I guess just so I'm clear on your suggestion, Councillor McDougall, you support the idea of the planning of a ceremony and perhaps looking at some various ways that we can organize in the future, like for example the feedback around perhaps having a blanket exercise or a ceremony, but not for July 1st, but at a later date.
Yes, that's pretty well what I'm saying here. And I think if we have all council and give staff some more opportunity to some time to do it well and do it right, I think canceling Canada Day is a big thing. It's a big thing in itself, and people are, if they understand why we're canceling it, and then there's your day of reflection, and they can sit home with their families and say, well, this is what's happening, and not have to go to the Civic Center or anywhere else and we'll have that ceremony at another date.
Okay, well, thank you for supporting, I guess, some of the feedback that's been provided. And, it is a short window of time to be able to plan and organize properly. But I'm happy to volunteer my time to work with Terry and town staff to look at, I guess, and work with staff to organize the ceremony that we can hold at some point, I guess, in July and or August. So there are other points of feedback that were given, such as raising the Mi'kmaq flag as of tomorrow morning and putting the flags at half-mast for the month of July. I guess that's another suggestion. Is that something that you are both agreeable to?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Didn't we already agree with that already?
Perfect. So the feed. Oh, sorry, Councillor. No, I don't think we had a conversation about that part of the feedback yet. Just on the ceremony.
No, but at one of our last council meetings, we decided we're going to buy a flagpole and put it up, and we were going to draw. And when was that day? Monday, also.
So
No?
Monday, the suggestion is to raise the Mi'kmaq flag and put all of our flags to half-mast for the month of July to observe the 751 bodies that were discovered in the mass grave in Saskatchewan. This is a little different than the motion that we made at our last public meeting to purchase and erect a 4th flagpole for the sole purpose of flying the Mi'kmaq flag. This would just, that's not going to happen on time for this particular request, but hopefully we will have that flagpole ordered and erected in time, perhaps for October, perhaps, or the following International Aboriginal Peoples Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Does that answer your question? Sorry, Councillor McDougall?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess the motion then is to have a day of reflection for July 1st, and to look at the planning and implementation of the ceremony for some time in the summer, as well as raising the Mi'kmaq flag and putting all flags at half-mast for the month of July. So I guess those are the details of the motion that we've discussed at this point. Is there anything else, any other feedback you'd like to add?
Yes, Your Worship. You missed, I think, the most important part, canceling all Canada Day celebrations.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you. So I guess the motion is in lieu of what we originally had planned.
Question?
The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded. Okay, the motion is approved, and I'd like to thank both Councillor Aucoin and Councillor McDougall for attending an emergency meeting on a Sunday. I appreciate that. I also appreciate all of the feedback that I've received from various First Nation community leaders. I appreciate your time and your commitment to our ongoing truth and reconciliation actions as a council. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Stop recording now, Derek.